for joining. Wait a few more minutes for everyone else to get in the room. It's 12 o'clock Eastern time. We'll get things kicked off around 12:02. In the interim, got a poll to get a feel for the room, and for those of you that are exploring Walmart or maybe already on Walmart. But once you do the poll, you'll be able to see the results on the right-hand side in the chat. But what are you hoping to get from today's session? Whether that's how to launch, improving your buy box performance, how to scale sales, or if it's just, hey, how can I make things work a bit better and reduce some of the operational complexity? So scaling is leading the way by quite a bit. Wait a couple more minutes.
Yeah, and I love this question, Damian. Thank you from the Walmart side. This helps us understand, what the actual value is and how we can best make sure that we're talking to the needs of the attendees here. So to everybody who has responded, thank you so much. For anybody who has not responded yet, would love to receive your responses as well.
Yeah, well put. The good news, doesn't matter what you're choosing, we're pretty much covered today. Reminder about to begin. If you haven't done the poll, please do. It'll give us some direction for the conversation to commence. Well, all right. So now change from more so of a how to scale to successfully launching is leading the way. Interesting. Nothing on buy box performance. Strange, Mikey.
Yeah,
buy box pros.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if there's no questions, then that means everybody is winning, within the ultimate game theory that is the buy box being the seller of record, which is ultimately like what everybody is competing for on every single listing within their assortment. So, more than happy to talk through everything that is listed on here, obviously. And hopefully, if people are already winning the buy box, maybe there's a couple tips and tricks that I can share a little bit later to this conversation.
Yeah, maybe they probably didn't get there yet, right? So if they didn't launch yet, haven't experienced the buy box, maybe they experienced another channel, but how it flows on Walmart is certainly different. But yeah, we'll get into it. We're at 12:03. Let's get started. Thanks for doing the poll there. Give us some feedback and direction. But yeah, let's get started. Welcome everyone to the webinar. I'm Damian. I'll be your host and moderator for today. We have a great session planned with some excellent content for both Walmart sellers existing and those just beginning to explore the channel, and those that are asking about information about launching. We'll be hearing from Walmart, Mikey, on how to succeed and grow, but also from Keter. So we have a special guest, and which is a leading outdoor storage brand that successfully launched and scaled on Walmart via ChannelEngine. But we have about 60 minutes. We won't take the entire time. That's the goal. I know we all have some form of ADD. So the fact that we're doing it this long is quite immense, but we'll do our best to keep it concise and to the point, as well as engaging. At the end, about 15 minutes or so for Q&A. We also have the chat if you want to put some questions there. We'll do our best to get to it. This call is recorded, so if you want to come back to it later, you'll be able to. All right. Let's go on to intros. Like I said, I'm Damian, Channel Partnerships Manager for ChannelEngine. I'm based in New York City, which is our US headquarters. In my role, I'm the bridge between our internal teams and external channel partners, which includes most major retailers, e-tailers, e-tail outlets, which includes a strong partnership with Walmart. But Mikey, you want to take it away?
Absolutely, Damian. Thank you for the intro. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depending on where in the world you're joining us from. Thank you for making the time to spend the next 45 to 60 minutes here in partnership with Walmart, Keter, and ChannelEngine. My name is Mikey. I've been at Walmart now for about 4.5 years. I lead a team of business development managers helping to onboard sellers, which will be a popular topic based off of the early poll results, and ultimately helping to get you live on site, optimize, and set you up for success. So that way your growth is just, not only here in FY27, but for many years to come, finding a new channel. With that being said, I'll turn it on over to Brooke with Keter.
Thanks, Mikey. Hi, I'm Brooke Hoster, Director of E-commerce for Keter. We are a global manufacturer of resin products. So we do outdoor, home, hardware storage across many different categories. You can find our products on Walmart.com and also Keter.com. Looking forward to telling you our stories today.
Nice. Thanks for joining. So those of you not familiar with ChannelEngine, we're the host of this. I'd say maybe shame on you a little bit for not knowing us, but that's all right. But after this, you will know at least a little bit. But we are a multi-channel management platform, SaaS. What does that really mean? Well, yeah, there's a bit more to it, but for any of the brand, technical or commercial leaders, this means basically absolute brand control. We're seeing this more and more. Brands are looking to get to new channels, maybe migrate a bit away from 1P or wholesale, and take that brand control, whether that's pricing, brand image, content, all right? And so our solution automates real-time inventory synchronization, so you don't have to deal with the nightmare of overselling. We introduce AI-powered mappings to format your data perfectly for every local audience, because we are global. And we offer dynamic pricing guardrails. So that's a big one as well. Right, so pricing, that's a big component to selling on e-commerce, because you're now no longer passing the price control to someone else. Use the brand, own it. But instead of building a dozen or so messy individual connections to different channels, say Walmart, Amazon, or whatever else, you plug into ChannelEngine via Shopify, your ERP, say NetSuite, a PIM, WMS, etc. Pretty much any data feed. In return, you instantly unlock access to 1,300 channels globally. So this is just a snapshot. It's not everything. It's not exhaustive, but it's to show you as a representative image that we have offices globally and global connections. So if you have any questions about how this all works, how to streamline your sales, different channels, how to streamline sales on Walmart, please get in touch. We'd love to talk to you. And that's my 60-second pitch. Moving on to the agenda here. Like we said, 35 to 45 minutes of the combo. Be a range of topics, pretty much everything ramping up to how can I accelerate sales? Many of you mentioned about launching. How do I launch successfully? I think this is perfect. A lot of information is available online, sure. You can find that. The goal of these sessions that we do is often to find the information that's not so readily available and then provide it to you. So when you get set up, you're selling as fast as possible, doing as well as you can as fast as possible, and that's better for everyone. As mentioned, we'll have the Q&A at the end. You have access to the chat for Q&A. We'll do our best to answer it, but let's get into it. So, Mikey, starting with the big picture, I think a lot of people who are investigating Walmart have seen great growth numbers that have been released. They're hard to ignore, but what is actually driving this growth, and why would now be such a key moment to get started?
Yeah, Damian, thank you so much for the question, and you're right, and thank you for toggling to this slide. This slide to me represents opportunity and the opportunity cost for coming onto the Walmart marketplace now. The numbers that you see here of $713 billion in FY26, the 8 consecutive quarters of U.S. e-commerce growth over 20%. It actually is now 9 consecutive quarters with our Q1 earnings for FY27 that just released over the last 10 days or so. So we not only are being successful, we're having sustained growth quarter over quarter, and that's no accident. Walmart Marketplace has really invested, in the platform and making this, a hopeful destination for sellers or brands to want to join, to diversify their portfolio of where they're selling, to find a new customer that maybe they're not currently reaching. Secondly, where you've really invested in the human capital component on this. So we're putting butts in seats to better help our sellers scale once they come onto this. So we're trying to help really have a one-to-one relationship with as many brands and sellers as we possibly can. And I think that commitment to the customers, the Walmart customer, and our partners and brands is really what we set ourselves up for, to help deliver these numbers many years ago now when I actually joined the marketplace team. There's no direct correlation, I can promise you that, but it's great to see that some of these efforts that Walmart has committed to year over year continue to compound. And that's really what the opportunity is now for anybody who is not currently selling, and where can you be potentially 3 to 5 years from now with this trajectory in mind for growth and actually generating additional GMV that has not been actualized yet. The last one I wanted to really kind of call out here is the 23% of Walmart sales are now from e-commerce. I know that Walmart Marketplace, many brands are trying to get familiar with Walmart Marketplace as a potential channel, because the narrative is obviously with our 4,600 stores, a 1P relationship with a merchant, getting that PO. That is the fundamental and foundational elements of Walmart. But this really does, in partnership with partners exactly like ChannelEngine, really help us give a scalable solution to expand their e-commerce presence into a new platform.
23%. Wow, that's quite a big jump, especially with the start of Walmart being just a huge retail operation to now having so much going through the e-commerce side of things. Epic. Talking about who's shopping on Walmart, one thing that surprises a lot of brands is who's shopping there. Demographics and wallet of the consumer of different channels play a big part in where these brands launch, no doubt. Can you talk about the customer profile that you're seeing? Because I think at times there's misconceptions about who's shopping on Walmart.
Yeah, absolutely. This actually is the most fascinating component of, I think, like really tells a great story about the difference between the 1P and the merchant side of the house with 3P. We are seeing from a consumer behavioral shift, a more affluent, higher wage earning income coming to Walmart. Walmart has an incredible loyal consumer. I recently saw some stats that 13% of our customers, based off of this study, are not cross-shopping on other platforms. So, we understand that people are price sensitive, but we also have that retention of bringing that assortment, and customers are finding the assortment that they want and they're not cross-shopping, which is just a fascinating way to think about like your own consumer behavior, right? Like at the end of the day, we're here representing our businesses, but also when we actually take that lens off and we think about us as our own consumers, what are we doing and what are we doing to provide for our families and the things that we enjoy? That to me is really a fundamental and kind of like, I don't know, conceptual shift in how brands need to be thinking about selling with Walmart. That if you're not selling directly with Walmart, we may be missing the boat. We may be missing an opportunity for somebody who isn't going to find you on another platform. So we're seeing Walmart customers, we're seeing higher earning consumers shift to Walmart because of global economic, concerns and things that are well beyond all of our controls. People still need the goods that they need for themselves. So seeing the $100,000 wage increase, we are seeing about an 8% of $100,000 or more come to Walmart and stay with Walmart, and another 8% above $150,000. So I understand that previously, maybe from the Walmart perspective of everyday low cost, everyday low price, that potentially Walmart was not a fit. But if you are a premium brand looking to find a customer, the customers are already here for you to go and reach. The other thing that's fascinating from my perspective is if you haven't actually checked Walmart for your own brand, you may already be on Walmart. You may already have a representation from a potential distributor and or a reseller of your products that are not actually giving you the exact brand representation that you're looking for. I would absolutely recommend going into Walmart, going into that search query and seeing if your brand is already on there, and seeing if there's misalignment between what you're trying to communicate with the customer from your D2C or other marketplace sites, and seeing if now may be a better time for us to represent your brand in partnership with you on site, which is another way in which ChannelEngine really leans in and can help you with that brand content ownership and help us actually communicate to the customer effectively.
I love that. That is well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. We see this in a lot of channels. Brands find out that they're on said channel. They're outraged, and it's like, I need to take action. and maybe you're a little too late. So I think go there, check it out, see what you're finding on Walmart if you're not there yet, and we could see what we could do to get you on and have more brand representation from the brand itself. Brooke, hearing all that, does it match what or why Keter decided to prioritize Walmart? Maybe what was the deciding factor for you?
Yeah, it wasn't, Keter's decision wasn't really just about reach. It was really just the right customer at the right time. Our business was moving from a 1P model to marketplace. We needed to move fast, and knowing Walmart is a priority for us. It's the right customers, as Mikey just said, a variety of customers, covering many different categories. And it's a trusted platform. Honestly, it was something where we needed to be part of and knew that.
Okay. So if we talk about Keter's Walmart story a bit more, can you walk us through what you were trying to achieve, maybe what the challenges were, how it all played out? I guess this would be just your Walmart story.
Yeah, absolutely. So we needed to see continued sales success as, like I said, business was moving. We had a great 1P. It was an urgency that we know we needed to be on the marketplace, as well as Walmart's merchants, even, showing the importance of marketplace because we could extend the shelf from what was in store. We needed to be able to publish a large assortment of products, maintain pricing, win the buy box, and play around various fulfillment areas, both in WFS and WFM. We also needed to do this, and the biggest part of the challenge was being able to do this without adding additional workflow to our teams on the back end. So we were able to, the solution, we started looking, there's opportunities out there, and ChannelEngine is who we partnered with. They held our hands along the way. We had several different calls. We never felt confused or what we needed to do next. And the partnership with ChannelEngine allowed us to launch multitude of items on one platform, which is easy to manage. We can manage our inventories, our pricing, winning buy box, and inventory levels across one platform. And yeah, and so being able
to my ears, yeah,
it really was. It's scary when you are so used to doing. We know e-commerce, we know the 1P, but marketplace was new. What is it? And we just never felt that we were left out there once we partnered. So the results, we were able to launch. We started with about a quarter of our products, and we had them launched in 6 weeks. We signed on with ChannelEngine, had the API connection done on the back end, and it was pretty flawless. Immediately went into training with their team, and then we saw week over week sales growth. So we opted in more to Walmart Marketplace, put more items in. Then we started seeing month over month sales growth. And we found, Walmart really has become a very scalable sales driver for Keter.
So yeah, we hear this quite a bit. My role, I'm not dealing with brands directly, but I do for sure. And this is coming up quite often. It's we have a legacy of 1P, of wholesale, but we want more brand ownership. We want to have, we want to maybe have higher margins that come with selling on marketplace. And it's new world, right? You also don't want to hire, for us to start, you don't want to hire 10 people, right, for this one channel or two channels. So you can get the same team, one software, start off small. Like you said, you didn't have the full assortment to start. You learned it. You had the support, not just from ChannelEngine, you had the support from Walmart, which is not on every single channel. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, good luck. And things went well and you scaled, you added more products quickly, and here we are. So love to hear that story. So Mikey, hearing what Brooke just described, does that reflect what you see from other brands that launch and grow well? And what do they tend to get right early on when starting?
Yeah, I would like to just kind of double down on the fact that Brooke and the Keter team engaged with ChannelEngine first and foremost from a scalable solution. That is that the speed and the ease of use of that platform through the API integration and really being able to do things, at the speed of, at the speed of light, if you will, really just to kind of turn something on and really make something instantaneous and being able to react so quickly. One is just huge, and it's a scalable solution, especially with the tech stack that you guys offer and what you bring to Walmart. It really is unparalleled and such an amazing value that you guys deliver for our brands and our sellers on Walmart Marketplace. Secondly, I touched on this a little bit earlier, the butts and seats within the Walmart Marketplace infrastructure. We have teams that help with onboarding with WFS shipments. You have a direct line for any escalations, any navigation internally. And I think that really is the difference of selling with Walmart as opposed to maybe selling in other channels, is you have a one-to-one, access here, and you have hosts like Damian and the ChannelEngine team that can be your own advocate if there's something that needs escalation. So it really is meant to be a symbiotic relationship, partnership between the brand, the partner, and ultimately Walmart Marketplace to give a better consumer experience within Walmart.com.
Yep, that's exactly right. So we work with a lot of different channels. Sometimes you don't get that support. You don't get the feedback, even for us. Sometimes the communication with that partner is not optimized. And ultimately that could translate into less sales. And so the fact you have, good communication with the channel, you have a high level of support with the software and a good product, that's a recipe for success. So love to hear it. Love to get the story out there. Brooke, was there anything about Walmart that caught you off guard, either harder than expected or alternatively something that turned out to be a bigger advantage than you anticipated?
Yeah, we had a little of both. One of our challenges, I would say, is, Walmart puts their customer first, and there was a level of expectation that we had to be accountable to. Shipping on time, quick response to customers that are purchasing our products through the marketplace. It was a challenge. We had to make some changes on our end, which actually only made Keter better in the long run. But we knew we needed to be part of this, and we're willing to make that change. Then I would say one of the biggest advantages we found of the marketplace is our ability. Keter has the ability to pull levers to increase sales. If you are not succeeding, part of that it's on us, because we are able to get products launched within a few days, and then pull levers to change pricing to win the buy box. Where we found success, I think we didn't expect, was managing inventories. If we have excessive inventory, we can get that product online, we can drop the price to get the buy box, and we are selling through inventory, which otherwise you would end up selling that product at a loss to someone else just to liquidate and get rid of. So it's really offered us a very beneficial opportunity.
Yeah, or even if it's overselling, right? Because inventory is not synced correctly, right? It's another issue. We hear this quite often from other channels. So if we move on to slide, there we go, how to win. So get into the buy box a bit here. So Mikey, winning the buy box is a goal for any seller on Walmart. It's something to know, it's something to explore. But the way Walmart's algorithm works has some nuances for sure. Brands maybe not anticipating how this algorithm works, and maybe they don't know the details, but at a high level, I'm sure you can explain it. But yeah, can you walk us through how it works and where you're seeing brands maybe get it wrong when they first launch?
Yeah, absolutely. And Damian and everyone here joining us, I love talking about the buy box. I touched on this at the very top of the call, but the game theory around reaching a customer on a listing, to me, is the ultimate strategy within e-com. So, at a very high level, being the seller of record on a listing and having that sold by and seeing your name there, that is the ultimate competition. So you're getting that incremental sale, whether you own that listing in and of yourself as a one of one and nobody is selling against you, or you happen to be a reseller, or you're a brand up against some other resellers, which, Brooke was kind of touching on there a few minutes ago. it is the fun part of actually being in this, the fundamental aspect of being able to get that add to cart and that checkout. That's the reward of all the efforts of doing this day in and day out. The buy box is comprised of these three main bullet points of the listing quality score, the price competitiveness, and the shipping speed. The last two we'll go digging in on. We'll go digging in on all three, but if we jump ahead to the next slide for listing quality score, this really is like the fundamental, like if you think about you're building a house, the listing quality score is the foundation. You don't want to have any cracks in it. And when we start thinking about all of the elements that go into this, you'll see it kind of broken out here with these various metrics of ratings and reviews, price competitiveness, published in stock, content quality, and shipping speed. We'll be touching on a few of these in a little bit greater detail here in some forthcoming slides. But within Walmart, within Seller Center, and through ChannelEngine, everybody who utilizes and sells with Walmart has access to your listing quality score. The screenshot in the top right-hand corner here is 71%, would be an encapsulation of what your overall assortment listing quality score is. So everything that you've listed with us, this is the aggregate of that. And over here on the right-hand side, you can see the listing score breakdown based off of a quantitative score that the algorithm has provided you with insights into, along with the performance from a qualitative of poor, good, and excellent in areas of improvement. These are obviously recommendations based off the algorithm that we make recommendations on, but it's not a requirement, but it's in your own best interest. The most exciting thing here is there's actual quantifiable impact here in the lower right-hand corner with green, where it says a listing quality of 80% or more converts at 1.5 times more than the listings with lower scores on average. This really comes back to, ultimately having the right content with all the images, having the content be dialed so we're communicating to the consumer effectively, while also helping you downstream with your ad spend, helping to drive your return on ad spend, having a higher ROAS, so your dollars going more because your consumers are finding the right products based off of the search queries. We're preventing cancellations and returns from getting the incorrect product, and we're having just a much cleaner selling experience on site. We'll go ahead and jump into the next slide here when we start really digging into kind of pricing. Price competitive. There's two fundamental efforts kind of elements, of winning the buy box. It's going to be pricing, it's going to be shipping speed. So we're going to kind of dig into both of those here. We talked a little bit earlier around EDLP, EDLC, premium brands, and how Walmart's becoming more of a home for premium brands. It doesn't mean that you have to be a loss leader. The beautiful part about selling within 3P as a marketplace brand and seller is you control your pricing, you control your margins, you control your fulfillment strategy. It is ultimately a hands-on experience for you, the brand, that is completely different than maybe the 1P side of the business if you already have a relationship with us. So getting the pricing dialed and understanding, am I winning the buy box? Who's winning the buy box above me, below me? We have automated tools via the repricer here that is on the top right-hand corner. That is an automated tool to give you more time back in your day. There's never enough time, whether you happen to be an SMB seller and you're wearing many hats on multiple channels, and or you are a large enterprise organization that has a dedicated team. Time is still money no matter how you slice it. So we want to make sure that your pricing is not only competitive within Walmart, but also across multiple platforms, because even though we have a loyal customer, and I quoted that 13% earlier, that's still 87% of consumers are cross-shopping. We don't want you to cannibalize a channel of growth here with Walmart just at the expense of another channel where you've already been successful, because there is momentum and there's opportunity here in years to come. So we really want to help you scale earlier and faster. So from a pricing standpoint, one, we want to win the buy box. You want to set those rules that I think, I'm going to throw something to Brooke here in just a moment around repricer. But really, we want to have best in market pricing to help align with your other channels, just to make sure that we're retaining and capturing that seller within the site experience on Walmart. Brooke, if you don't mind, I would just love to kind of throw you on the spot here around repricer. What worked effectively after you started to sell with Walmart? What pricing strategies did you guys need to adopt to ultimately become more competitive on site?
Yeah, it's a good question, because we actually did not initially opt into repricer. We thought it was something that we could handle manually, and we would look in there and And we found that we were missing sales because we were losing the buy box. As anyone that sells online knows, a price can change several times in a day. So when we looked into Repricer, what we loved about the Walmart platform is you can set your own repricing strategy. You can choose to only match within the Walmart platform. You can choose to go outside across other competitors. We needed to maintain our profitability as well. So we do have different strategies for different items based on their competitiveness. So, and since we have done that, we have been able to bounce around with Repricer, consistently winning the buy box, and it's a hands-off approach. Like I started with, we really, when doing this, we needed to alleviate workload being added onto people's plates.
Yeah, that's amazing, Brooke. Thank you for sharing the story there, because that to me is the why. And when we start thinking about like the what's in it for me, the WIFM analogy or acronym, excuse me, that we've heard, for at all stages of our lives, that's the value that a repricer tool it can really equate to, going back to time and ultimately helping you increase your buy box conversion rate at the item level and within your overall assortment, because that is the incremental sales that you're beginning to capture by actually becoming a lot more efficient within the management of the platform here. So Brooke, thank you so much for sharing that anecdote, because that is actual real dollars that Keter has been able to capture over all these years. So thank you so much for that. Ultimately, price is going to be the number one variable within winning the buy box. And we'll go ahead and we'll jump into shipping speed on the next slide here. So on that previous slide, we saw a 40% GMV increase and a 30% increase in overall buy box conversion percentage. Here's also not only we helping you save money with your shipping speed, by also adopting WFS here, we're also potentially saving you money on the back end from a fulfillment strategy of 15% or less on average, or 50. Yeah. So that to me is, if you're selling more, you're also saving more by utilizing and adopting WFS. It's a win-win all the way around, not only from a ship speed standpoint, because we've all been conditioned to expect something 2 days or less. That's like, once again, going back to the business side of things, like if you're a seller, but removing that lens and now thinking of it as a consumer, how often are you, checking out of the buy box to go compare other sellers, to look at shipping speeds for something you're going to purchase? Not very often. Most likely, I don't know, everybody does their own thing, but more likely you're probably utilizing the fastest shipping speed possible. So this is really where we want to really hone in from a qualitative consumer experience and how you can meet that demand for our sellers. So WFS, we see a 50% increase and the adoption of utilizing our pick, pack, and ship services. Many brand sellers are probably familiar with FBA. So think of something similar, but anecdotally a better selling experience from the feedback I have received from sellers, along with also saving money. So to me, this is a win-win-win all the way around for the consumer, for the brand, and for Walmart. We're also an extension of your organization. Going back to the SMB and or the enterprise level, if you have a robust logistics infrastructure, then by all means continue to lean in there. But think of it as we're looking into the back half of the year. This, with WFS and having faster shipping speeds and what that does, it will help you with winning that buy box. So you're competing on the same listing, but if you're shipping faster, you're going to beat out your nearest competitor, even at the same price. Secondly, by utilizing WFS, you extend the holiday shopping window for a consumer, where if your own seller fulfilled carrier has a cutoff of, say, December 7th to guarantee deliveries a little bit later on this year, WFS may have a 20th, 21st, or 22nd cutoff. So you're giving yourself an additional 2 weeks to compete at the highest traffic time of the year within the site experience. And that is also real dollars for us. So understanding that shipping speed can be such an impactful component on top of pricing, that is the ultimate kind of elixir with all of those ingredients to help us actually bake that sourdough all the way through, because it is a recipe for success as long as we dial this in at the SKU level from the pricing and the shipping standpoint.
Nice. Can we go back to slide 15? I want to touch upon the content. So I know this comes up. This is a major one. I see it quite often, which is content, listing quality. Mikey, listing quality score. is where a lot of brands, in my opinion, quietly leak performance and maybe fall short, and they don't really realize it. Can you break down the components within listing quality? Even well-established brands are falling short with. You know, in my experience, brands will launch channels. We're going to launch 3 channels this year. We're going to launch 5, and perhaps they do the bare minimum. There's no consistency in their images on this channel, high res, high quality. I have 12 images, right? And so you have so much information about the product. I launched these 2 channels, and there's 3 images, 3 sentences on the product description page, and they're low res or meeting the minimum requirement for resolution, and it's just not the same. So then you can't possibly expect the same kind of sales. And so this all goes down to how are you listing, the health score of that content. But yeah, if you can give us details, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely, Damian. And thanks for bringing this back to content quality, because at the end of the day, that is the foundational component of being able to communicate to the customer within a virtual storefront. The content within Seller Center here, and also through ChannelEngine, these recommendations are actionable. So we're going to tell you specifically, you know, this item needs more images. We need to increase keywords. We're going to help make sure that we are narrowing the focus and helping you prioritize at the item level what the assets and what those variables need to be actually filled in and plugged in. For our registered brand owners, registering within the brand portal within Walmart helps you with intellectual property protections. It also helps you unlock the brand shop within Walmart Connect, which is our ad portal, to be able to have rich media, which includes 360 images. It also includes videos to be able to more effectively communicate to the customer. So when we start talking about content, it's also going that level deeper for our brands to make sure we have those protections and we are able to unlock greater enhancements and capabilities within the site experience for you, for that Walmart customer. Did that answer the question that you were hoping to hear as far as what's in there for the brands and some of those additional opportunities within the site experience?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, our software does help with this in a major way. We use a traffic light system, right? So we know that this is the bare minimum. This is what's suggested to list for content, all these different things, criteria, and it tells you, our software tells you that you've met the minimum requirements, you need more, and here's all these other attributes you can fill in. And so it's very easy to manage. You don't have a lot of excuses outside of just maybe having not optimal images. But you can work with an account manager within ChannelEngine and your account manager within Walmart to make sure that the listings, pricing, and everything else is optimized. Pricing is a huge one for me. So you touched upon pricing, Mikey. If we can revisit that as well, kind of dig into it just a bit more. We did a survey to sellers globally, roughly 1,500. 40% came back and said that pricing changes was the biggest factor, the biggest issue for inefficiencies when it came to listing on channels. Right, and so it's huge. I mean, it's constantly changing. If there's promotions, right, so having to do that work, if you have 1,000 SKUs and you're doing multiple channels, that is a lot of management. When you use a software like us, it certainly gets easier. But pricing is something that trips up a lot of brands. I think even ones with strong content and ones with experience. But can you talk a bit more about the repricer? I'm not sure if you can share additional details and why getting the pricing right is just so critical for buy box performance. I imagine, like I think you even said this, that is probably number one, the buy box pricing and price parity. But if you can go into that more detail, I think that'll help out the audience.
Yeah, absolutely, Damian. So from a repricer standpoint, I never want to see a brand, go into the red from a margins perspective. So the repricer allows you to set your floors and your ceilings on it, down to the item level. Now, maybe as part of an exit strategy, you are trying to liquidate, which kind of goes back to some of the comments a little bit earlier. But the repricer tool, at scale, whether it's on one item or an assortment of 1,000, is just a way for you to have a scalable solution in real time to actually save you time to compete and capture those incremental sales. The other interesting part around the repricer is that this was a game changer when we released this functionality a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago now, if I remember correctly. And just the idea of I now don't have to check my pricing manually every hour. I can turn that alarm off. I can remove that from my calendar block. That the idea of capturing those sales, especially as times get busy and you expand more channels, the set it and forget it component of the integration here with Damian and the ChannelEngine team really makes it such an effective way for you to be able to sell as you're going through, and within a centralized structure that ChannelEngine offers from an integration standpoint. It makes it easier to help you monitor your price changes on multiple channels, no matter where you're selling. So you know exactly how you're impacting your business. If you start seeing an increase here on Walmart, you know, like, okay, cool. Did I start winning that buy box? Did the rules change? Did somebody else sell out? You can just really start to get the game strategy of the impact of pricing. The other thing within Repricer is helping to find that sweet spot. You know, if you happen to be a brand owner and you are the only seller on that item within Walmart Marketplace, the merchants are also seeing, you know, what am I looking at potentially for open call? Maybe your motive is to get into 1P, you know, in the fall for plans out into 2028, hypothetically, knowing where we're at right now in 2026. Being able to help find that sweet spot of maybe I'm listing at 199 and I'm not getting a lot of traction, but now maybe I'm doing strike through and I'm starting to gain some traffic at 169.99, hypothetically, within a flash deal. I'm now starting to drive those impressions. I'm part of a deal. I'm now actually starting to convert. If I happen to have that room within my margin, maybe I have to reconsider my pricing. So the Repricer tool and pricing also becomes a sandbox for you on Walmart.com to measure and tinker to see how to be more effective within your listing. So pricing is such a key element on a multitude of ways.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, that's something that's controlled within ChannelEngine. You have the option of doing Repricer through Walmart. We actually have our native Repricer as well. So I think the bottom line is, as long as you're in control of your pricing, you're able to manage it, you're able to set the minimum and maximum, schedule your pricing. So if you know promotions are coming up, there's holiday seasons. Mikey mentioned about strike-throughs and experimenting with different price points. That can take a lot of time if you don't have the right partner, if you don't have the right software, especially if your catalog's big. And that's why for big brands, everything that's mentioned is, you know, it's magnified, right? A bit more complexity. You have a tech stack that is more complex, connectivity issues that go therein. And so, you know, maybe you friend away from adjusting pricing because it's like, what's the fallout? What's going to be the headache if I start changing these prices, or, you know, anything connected to changing prices? Maybe the additional volume that comes through, or am I going to do sales below the margin I need? And so these are all features within our pricing engine, as we call it. But Brooke, how did this play out for you? You launched, you had to play around with pricing. You had to figure out the quality score and logistics, and pricing's a big one. You didn't want to launch and lose money, but maybe talk to us about the pricing strategy you used, whether it was Repricer or whatever you needed to do to win the buy box.
Yeah, so we actually found using ChannelEngine's platform that we could set a min max. Made it very easy. It was done. We did it through a spreadsheet. So it's just a Google Doc that is uploaded into their system. Everybody knows how to work on those documents. So if you were at a crunch for time, we set a ceiling to floor price. And we were able to completely bounce around in between there as retails changed, keeping us winning that buy box. Also, you know, like Mikey talked about, we need to stay profitable too. We can't go in the red. That's not what Walmart wants. And so we are able to maintain all of that with very little hands-on and extra work.
Perfect. Cool. So a few more questions, a couple more topics. This will round it out, and then we'll get to the Q&A session. So it looks like we're pretty close to being on time. But I need to know, Mikey, about categories, what's moving, what's really selling. We can move forward to maybe slide 22 would probably be good when it comes to assortments. And so this is a big one for Walmart, getting the products available for those who are looking for it. What's in demand now? You know, the ones that are exploring, yeah, what categories are just in demand right now, and what's going to help fuel their growth?
Yeah, absolutely. And great topic. And I know this is something that a lot of brands want to know is what is going to be my ROI if I decide to come onto the platform right now? Right now, Walmart, and we're looking at the assortment growth slide here. The assortment growth is an unbelievable enhancement within the site experience for sellers. We're giving directional information based off of category trends of areas of opportunity for our brands and our sellers. First and foremost, what Walmart Marketplace offers is diversification of channels. Secondly, an opportunity for full assortment parity. What I'm alluding to is maybe you have a few SKUs if you happen to be a 1P partner, but you have another, let's say 25 items within your assortment that are not currently listed within Walmart. By joining Walmart Marketplace, you have full assortment penetration on site to also then give merchants visibility to some of those SKUs that maybe you don't have already in store. The other opportunity here is we are providing directional information, and I don't want to ever have Walmart overpromise and underdeliver, but we're providing indicators for traction of some categories, subcategories that we're seeing traction in within the seller center experience and areas in which ChannelEngine can help the brands navigate towards being able to help you know, like, hey, this is an area of opportunity. Maybe I have something right now. Like, let's think camping. It's summer, there's holidays, there's vacations. So if you happen to be within that camping space, your items may be deemed, a customer favorite. Those items are going to be in demand. We need to help optimize and get those onto the platform. So maybe we get those added into your assortment if they're not already listed, hypothetically. There's also cross-category testing of maybe you are a reseller utilizing ChannelEngine. Maybe you've been trying to dip your toe in to see what other areas of opportunity from your distributors or new distributors that you can connect with to help start selling within Walmart. So we're giving a lot more information now than we ever have before because we hear our sellers. We have our upcoming seller summit in San Diego at the very beginning of September. And that is really where we receive information from sellers about what it is that you need to be successful for Walmart. We take that information, we actually take it back. Assortment growth is one of those pieces of feedback that we know that you have potentially on our competitors. And so this is our way of helping to meet that demand to help you be more successful for those brands in that assortment.
Yes, what I'm hearing is it boils down to support, right? How can I sell more? Here's what's going to sell more. Here's the categories. Here's the products. Here's the SKUs. Collaboration, not just from Walmart to get that information, but then use the partner they're using, such as ChannelEngine, right? So we can utilize that information that you're supplying to make things happen from a deployment and activation standpoint. So, no, thanks for outlining that. So the question then becomes how to go live for brands that are here, and it sounds like there was quite a few that haven't launched on Walmart. What does it actually take to get started on Walmart Marketplace? Maybe talk about any incentives that are around if you can. I'm not sure if you're able to, but if you can, that would also be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, getting started with Walmart just by being here and hopefully learning and taking away and providing some feedback based on that poll, that gave me an indication of how I can best partner with those of you who have not started with us yet. Please, on the next slide here, there is a QR code. This right here will actually link back to this will help you with your application to get started. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about any questions that you do have regarding onboarding. The new seller savings incentive that is highlighted here, this is our offer that is available and eligible for all sellers coming onto the platform that are not currently selling with us. So it's up to $75,000, and it's a tiered savings for commission fees. There's WFS incentives, and then Walmart ad credits for advertising, and also SEM. So we're going to really do everything imaginable to help you scale your business faster, on top of if you're already using ChannelEngine, helping you to be able to scale not only onboarding, but ultimately scale your business and help you save money simultaneously. For some brands, there may be some additional incentives that are eligible for you, and those are kind of a one-by-one partnership conversation, and that is a brand by brand, seller by seller discussion. But ultimately, now our incentives have never been better. The SEM credit of $1,000 is new this year, where we did not have that in previous years. So our offer for new brands coming onto Walmart Marketplace has never been greater. So we'd love to have that conversation and continue this dialogue coming back from this webinar.
So that's how to get onto Walmart, what do you got to do? And the other side of it is Keter's already on Walmart. So got to do a plug for you. So what's selling well? What products do you want to highlight, Brooke?
Yeah, I think first off, for marketplace, it's you make it what you want. We have products that are in WFS. We have products that are in WFM. We can change with the pricer. They've made it very easy. For Keter, we have participated in deals and events where you can get reduced commission on some items if you opt in. We've seen double-digit sales growth numbers when we do that. And this month, at the end of this month, we're opting into the Walmart Summer Savings event. So we're going to have a curated assortment, around 30 items that'll be on sale. We've got a deco coat technology. It's brand new out there. It looks like a wood look texture on deck boxes and sheds. So yeah, check us out. We'd love to get some sales. Thanks, Damian.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. So let's go to Q&A. We had a bunch come through the chat. We'll get in touch with some of you. Mikey, there was a question, a request actually for approved 3PLs. So it came through from a few people. So we can follow up post-call to get them that information. If you want to touch upon the major ones that you're seeing, that would be great.
Yeah, we do have an approved list of 3PLs that we can provide, and I'll send that on over. I can't speak specifically because we have to remain relatively agnostic of our partners, of course. But more than happy to provide that list, and knowing that these are approved partners, from an integration standpoint for anything that you need from a fulfillment aspect. Just making sure that you stay on top of that. One of the biggest things that I hear for anybody, that is adopting a 3PL or switching 3PLs within the site experience here with Walmart, is just making sure that the data flow is syncing, everything is moving, smoothly, and we're not running into performance related issues. So just a brief recommendation of, at the time of onboarding a 3PL, just make sure your on-time delivery is status quo. Your tracking rate is on par. Ultimately, we don't want to have you impacted early on with a new partner impacting your performance and account health.
There was another question about high-end products. In this particular question, it was about furniture, but I think it could apply to any high-end product. But what strategy at a high level do you think they could deploy to do well? Maybe high-end products aren't necessarily the types of products one would think for Walmart, but we know that they can sell well, given the audience and the vast consumer base of Walmart. But yeah, any insights or any tips to share on that front would be great.
Yeah, from my perspective, I would want to just take a look at listing quality first and foremost. Premium products deserve premium placement, and I want to have a premium site experience. So I'd want to look there first and foremost, just to make sure that we at least have done the foundational elements. And then I would want to help curate, like, are we the only seller that is on that listing as the brand? Are we against other sellers on that brand? Is pricing a concern? What is our ship speed? I understand that maybe these are some large oversized items, so they may not necessarily be, the fast and free shipping that we would want, but really just digging into every element within the seller experience for the consumer. And then secondly, what is being done from an advertising standpoint. I don't want to spending good money at a bad situation. So I really want to make sure that we do everything first, from all the blocking and tackling, before we start trying to advertise and scale, start driving those impressions. One of the things Brooke mentioned a little bit earlier is getting involved in some of our summer deals. What are the areas that we could start planning for deals and promotions as well to help at least drive the visibility? The one thing I did not touch on a little bit earlier, and I apologize, but there is zero entry fee to sell with Walmart. There's no hosting fee. We're not bidding for buy box. Ultimately, the biggest kind of hurdle to overcome is, time and resources, whether that's dedicated headcount, the agreement to move forward with expanding to Walmart, and or inventory allocation. So the barrier to entry really is, zero cost up front. Walmart does not make money if you're not making money. So we would love to help partner and see how we can best scale. And that, apology on the quick tangent, but I wanted to make sure I touched on that for the group. Yeah,
no, it means a lot of content to cover in a relatively short period of time. She did a great job. We missed some things. That's what next steps are for, right? Having in-depth conversations to cover specifics. Two more questions, and we'll be at time. And Brooke, they're for you. Put you on the hot seat. There's a question that came through just about advertising and how you did it on Walmart. Are you able to share anything about your strategy for advertising?
Yeah, we do participate in connecting keyword bidding. Not going to give exact dollars, can't do that,
Yeah,
but we do have a budget that is, we're very seasonal. So it fluctuates month over month, but we do absolutely bid to keep our products in front of the consumer.
Cool. And then, excuse me, and then there was a question about your approach to being omnichannel, not just Walmart. I'm not sure if you're able to share anything about this. Are you doing channels outside of Walmart?
We are, and we do use ChannelEngine. So they're handling 3 different customers for us, which that's a beautiful thing. You go into the front page of the platform. I can see all 3. I can click into which one I want to go into. And so that is another great thing. And also we can manage those platforms through one place or one Google Doc with ChannelEngine, and they can separate it out for us.
You're able to see the performance as well. You mentioned you're seasonal, right? So there's certain ebbs and flows throughout the year, but you're able to see performance at a holistic level, a full level, and then you can break it down by product, you can break it down by channel, which is also helpful. Mikey, you and I talked about that as well, right? Performance, you're able to track. You might be leaking performance from all of a sudden something got away from you in terms of logistics. Things are not shipping on time, things are not being delivered on time. That'll affect your score. You will see that in the performance trends week over week. All of a sudden, you're not winning buy boxes because the score is simply dropping. So that's something you want to check with first when you log in. How the sales doing? What's my score like? And that'll give you some dictation about what to do next. Okay, so moving on. This question is for me. Is there a way to be 1P and 3P simultaneously through ChannelEngine? Yes, it all depends on the channels available. So we primarily do 3P. That gives you more control of the brand. There's more to adjust and change. When it comes to 1P, very much so, there's less to control. But for us as a solution, it's trying to be all things e-commerce. So eventually we'll have as many 1P channels as possible. It's a bit limited now. But yeah, talk to us if there's a specific channel that you want, we can support it. Yeah, anytime. So we're pretty much right at time. We have time for maybe one more question. So if there's a question in the audience, put it into the chat. If not, you'll get in touch and we'll have an in-depth conversation. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so to our guests, thanks for attending and sharing your input. Shout out to Keter for joining us. Thanks so much. Thanks for trusting ChannelEngine with your e-commerce business. Mikey, thanks for going over all that content. There's so much to share, super valuable for all the attendees. Looking forward to having fruitful conversations. To the audience, thanks for attending, and we look forward to speak with you. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.